Hello, my friends. Welcome to Joey Poetry. I wanted today to share with you a few poems from this book called Jody Said. Here, let me turn it in the light so you can see the title, by Beth Jankola. She's from British Columbia, and she did die a couple of years ago. I was kind of sad to see that because this book was gifted to me from my old neighbor, and I finally got around to reading it, and I really enjoyed it. It's not a heavy read, but there is some poetry, some story poems, and some short stories in here, and she just does a really nice job. So Jody is her daughter, and so some of these poems are, mainly about that relationship there, but it's really a lot of interesting perspectives on life and how you pass that down to the generations. Anyway. The first piece is called My Daughter and I, and again, it's Jody Said, so here we go. My daughter and I are in the living room, sitting in front of our big granite fireplace. The phone rings. I'll get it, Jody says. It's for you, Mom. Rushing to answer it, I pass our supper table and notice that Burger, our cat, is into the fish scraps. Grab the cat, I tell Jody. Fish bones. A man's voice from the telephone tells me he's from CBC Radio. Jody rushes in, cat in arms. She looks upset. He wants to do a tape of my poems. Jody is frantically waving at me. 50 cents a line. Jody is pointing at the cat's mouth. Yes, he would like a manuscript beforehand. Do something, Jody yells. Yes, I can come to the recording studio anytime. I don't hold down a steady job. Mother, the child screams. Look, I say, my daughter's upset. Oh, he says, I'll put the poems in the mail this weekend. Great, he says. Chow, he says. I get the tweezers. We get the fishbone out. I start dialing long distance. I have this urge to speak with my mother. She always says the wrong things. We hang up. I pace around the house. Jody plants herself in front of me. I say, these things make me so darn nervous. Look, she says, you don't have to be a star unless you want to, you know. From the mouths of babes. All right, so I have a few more. I know this is going to be a little bit longer. The last two are very short pieces, I promise, but I just had fun reading this book, and so I couldn't decide which ones to give you, and I figured since the last two are pretty short, I could do four of Beth's poems for you today because they really are good. Again, I'm so sad that when I did the research, I found out that she died a couple of years ago, but she was a very accomplished artist, not just in poetry and painting and other things. She's from British Columbia. By all means, go learn about her, read some more of her work. It really is engaging. This one is called Pigeon. A pigeon flops in the gutter of a downtown city street, a broken wing. Jody balances on a cement wall, arms outstretched. I place myself between her and the bird. It upsets her to see suffering. Two old men stand looking at the bird, shrugging their shoulders, not knowing what to do. A young man springs into their midst, stomp, stomp with his high-heeled platform shoes. The bird is dead. Hurry, Jody. We gain safety of our car. I watch the young man's retreating back. He turns, looks to the scene of his violence, a smile on his face. The next one is called Just Think. Just think, Jody said. If you hadn't married Dad, you might have been, she said, looking at me, fatter. Your hair might have been longer, but then, she mused, you might not have written poetry. And the last one I'll share with you, I told you the last two were short. The last one is called In the Shower. In the shower this morning, I watched the spaces that define my each and separate toe, and was amazed at that which is not. Thanks for stopping by. Once again, these were selections from Jody Said by Beth Jankola, which I inherited from my old neighbor. Thanks so much, Kim. Thanks for stopping by.